Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. I just got something out of the mailbox that I figured I would show you guys. I took it out of the USPS box because it had my address all over it. But I traded my Microtech Ultratech Hellhound Bounty Hunter. I love that knife, but it was very expensive. And I knew, frankly, when I bought it, that I was probably just going to have it to experience it for a little while and then sell it or trade it for something else, just because it was hard for me to justify that amount of money for a knife that unuseful. Even if it was a super useful knife, that amount of money on a knife, usually those types of knives don't stick in my collection for that long because I like to cycle different knives through and experience more things. And that brings me to this. If you know this packaging and that logo and can read, you'll know that this is an Olamic. Now, I've had two Olamics in the past. I had a Wayfarer Sheep's Cliff, the 24/7S, and I got that at California Custom Knife Show. It was fantastic. Had, I think, 5 holes in the show side. The whole thing was, I want to say they call it their entropic finish, but I might be crazy on that. Anyways, it's kind of a cool stone-washed color with a stone-washed blade. I love their Sheep's Cliff blade shape. I think it looks awesome, especially on the Wayfarer. And then I also owned a Swish, and I really liked the Swish as well. It was kind of a toss-up, frankly, as to which of those I preferred. I loved both of those knives. They're two of my favorite knives that I've ever owned, period. Just fantastic build quality, awesome action in kind of a unique way. They're not like drop shutty, but they're still super fun to fidget with for me. Yeah, I loved both of those. The Swish that I had was a bronze. It was the same handle finish. I don't know if it's called Entropic or Acid Rain or something. I'll have to ask Eugene. Anyways, both of those were great knives. The Swish, I keep forgetting to tell you the rest of it. It had a coated, I think it was PVD coated, black LMAX blade. The 24/7, the Wayfarer, was M390. I'm pretty sure that's the only steels they offer each of those models respectively in. But yeah, both just gorgeous, super well done knives. And I've had nothing but good experiences with both the knives, and then also having met Eugene now at 2 shows and having talked with him quite a bit after owning some of his knives. He's just a really cool guy. I know there's more people than Eugene at Olamic, but I'm pretty sure if you go to knife shows, he's usually the guy that you meet, and he's the one who I think does almost all, if not all, of their social media. And yeah, he's the guy over there. So really like Olamic as a company now as well, after having dealt with them, after having some friends send in knives to have like kind of spa treatments, or I think they'll even like change anodizing and colors and all kinds of stuff. They'll let you like add features or design elements to the knife after having bought it. So you can buy kind of a basic one, send it into them and have them do work on it, which is really cool. They do a lot of really fun stuff over there. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and open this one up because you probably want to see what's in the box, right? So it's not a new model that I haven't had. It's another Wayfarer, but this one's very different from the one that I had because this is an inlay model, and I'm pretty sure this is the only one with this inlay. I traded my friend Constantino for this. Super nice guy. I've been friends with him through Instagram and the knife community for, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. We've been in a small group chat together for a long time. Just a really cool guy. I'm glad that I've known him. And he really wanted the Bounty Hunter, and he had this available. And even though this value was a little higher than the Bounty Hunter, I think he'd had a little trouble selling this and was willing to straight trade. So I jumped on it because it was a great deal. And frankly, I've really missed my Wayfarer ever since selling it. I only sold the Wayfarer and the Swish. I sold them both at the same time so that I could fund my SIG P226. At the time, it was more important to me to get a firearm, well, that firearm specifically, than to keep those knives. And I stick by that. That SIG is phenomenal. I don't regret it per se, but I do miss those knives. Anywho, so I wanted another Wayfarer ever since, and this one is pretty different. So it has these coral inlays, which are just gorgeous. I've actually only seen this knife in photos before, but because I've been friends with Constantino, and he's the one who had this knife built, I think, to his specs. I'm pretty sure he might have even sent this material to Eugene to have this put in. Not positive. I'll have to talk to both of them and confirm that, but I think this might be material that he sent and they were willing to use for him. I could be crazy and remembering wrong, so don't hold me to that. But this one, as you can see, has the satin blade in M390, and it's got the Damascus clip. I'm not positive yet if I'm going to leave that anodized or de-anodize it. If you know me, you know you probably know that I don't particularly like anodized clips all too often. I do think this one kind of matches the whole aesthetic of the knife pretty well. So I may leave it. The jury's still out on that one. But the action on a Wayfarer is just, oof, the detent on these, it's fantastic. And the way that it's kind of ramped too, it's really smooth. This is not a drop shutty knife at all. It's like, it'll go, but it's no Arius, it's no Paysan, it's no Norseman, it's nothing like that. But that's not really what they're going for. And I really like this action. I really like to play with it. The Wayfarer I had before was, I think, my favorite knife ergonomically that I have ever owned. The way that this handle is profiled, for people with larger hands than me, they probably wouldn't like this finger groove and the way it swells and all that. But for me, oh my goodness, is it perfect. It fits my forward finger just right. And then these three land perfectly in that curve there. And then this kind of, I don't know if you want to call it a belly or a swell, the way that sits in my palm for a saber grip, it's unreal how good this knife feels to me. All the edges are chamfered incredibly well. There's no hot spots. There's nothing sharp other than the edge of the blade. Yeah, it just feels great. This clip, I don't really feel in my hand at all with the way that this handle is shaped and how flush and kind of tight that sits. It's just a fantastic clip in my opinion. I've heard some people complain that it doesn't do so well in pants for them. The one I had before, I carried quite a few times in a variety of different pants. I never had any issues with it. It's got this kind of ceramic ball here, which is what stands it up off of the titanium on this side, and then it actually sits on a couple of standoffs here. So it's a flat, straight piece of titanium, or in this case, Damascus, and it's raised here with standoffs and then sits proud here because of that ceramic ball that's set into it. But it's just a really cool clip. I think it looks great on the knife, the shape of it, and functionality wise, it works great for me. Plus it feels so good in hand. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's hard for me to beat a knife. In fact, I don't think I've owned anything that does beat ergonomically the Wayfarer for my hands. So really, really glad that I pulled the trigger on this one. It's so nice to have a Wayfarer again. I've really missed it. So I'm pumped to carry this a decent bit, and I'll do a full review on it soon. Even though I've owned one before, I feel like it wouldn't be fair to do a full review on this piece since I haven't really experienced it enough. So yeah, full review will be coming, but I figured you guys would enjoy the exciting news of my newest knife until tomorrow when I've got another two arriving. But for today, this is my newest knife. So, hooray.